The story begins with an unsettling narration about Larson, a quiet, isolated town with a dark past. Years earlier, a string of brutal murders terrorized the community. Victims were slain in horrific ways and the killer was never captured. Locals whispered about a mysterious figure known as the pale-faced killer, a man who wore an expressionless white mask, slaughtered his victims, and disappeared without a trace. Eventually the murders abruptly ceased, and the town enjoyed several years of uneasy peace, yet the legend persisted. Whispered conversations and ghost stories kept the name Paleface alive, and residents of Larson continued to fear it despite the killer's long absence. The film cuts to a chilling scene in a shabby motel where a young woman is being held captive. Panicked, she struggles to escape as the masked assailant repeatedly stabs her. Despite her efforts, she is brutally murdered, confirming the town's worst fears: the killer never truly left. A few days later, Carly arrives at the same motel and requests a room for a short stay. The front desk appears unmanned until she notices someone watching television in a nearby room, only their legs visible. Before she can get a closer look, a man in a Halloween costume startles her. He is Bryce, the motel manager, dressed for the holiday. Carly asks for a quiet room with a view, and Bryce assigns her room 8, located farther from reception. Carly returns to her car to fetch her luggage, unaware that Gabriel, her ex-husband, is hiding inside. As she walks away, Gabriel slips into the room without Bryce noticing. It emerges that Gabriel is a fugitive wanted by the police. Carly is helping him hide, which explains her choice of a low-profile motel on the town's outskirts. Gabriel is visibly anxious and evasive, and when Carly presses him for answers, he finally confesses. He reveals that he once worked for a younger supervisor who demeaned him, and in a moment of rage he struck the man with his car. He claims the death was not intentional but occurred during a panicked instant. Carly reacts with fury and warns Gabriel that continuing down this path will cost them any chance of regaining custody of their son. It is revealed that both Carly and Gabriel have criminal records and have previously served time. The court removed their child due to their past behavior. After a heated argument, Carly leaves the room. Alone, Gabriel attempts to call his friend Andre and arrange an escape from the country. Poor cell reception forces him to move about the motel until he finally connects from the bathroom. Andre promises to pick him up soon. Later that night, Gabriel hears a woman scream in the adjacent room. He arms himself but does not leave, fearing that if he is seen he will be reported to the police. The screaming eventually ceases, and silence falls. Someone unexpectedly knocks on Gabriel's door. He freezes, then the footsteps recede and the visitor disappears. Gabriel is left uncertain whether the incident was real or a product of his paranoia. The following morning, 2 police officers investigate the workplace where Gabriel was last employed. A female coworker tells them Gabriel stole money from his boss and attempted to flee. When the boss confronted him, Gabriel ran him over. The injuries proved fatal. The boss was a young man, and the police have launched an active search for Gabriel. Back at the motel, guilt consumes Gabriel. He experiences haunting visions of the man he struck. Although he insists the death was accidental, the burden torments him. Carly returns the next day to check on Gabriel, who is visibly shaken and reports the screams he heard in the neighboring room the night before. Convinced that something terrible has occurred, Gabriel believes a woman next door is being attacked. Carly, however, remains skeptical, attributing his claims to stress and paranoia. She reasons that his life on the run, chronic sleep deprivation, and overwhelming guilt over the accident could be causing hallucinations. Carly even entertains the possibility that Gabriel himself harmed the woman, an accusation that enrages him. He insists he never left the room, pleads that he has changed, and begs her to trust him. To settle the matter, Carly knocks on the neighboring door. A woman answers, appearing calm and composed. Although their exchange is inaudible to us, Carly returns reassured and reports to Gabriel that the woman seemed fine. Frustrated, Gabriel persists that something still feels wrong, but Carly dismisses his fears as imagined. Upset, she decides to leave again, returns home, and discards the motel key in the trash, an action that signals her resolve to disengage from the situation. Overcome with guilt and fear, she breaks down, aware that if Gabriel is apprehended she could face imprisonment again and potentially lose any chance of regaining custody of their son. Meanwhile at the motel, Gabriel watches nervously as police begin to patrol nearby, aware that they are closing in. He hears another noise from the adjacent room. As he approaches, a lamp unexpectedly falls, heightening his sense of being watched. Bryce, the motel manager, has grown suspicious after noticing unusual sounds and activity near room 8 and attempts to check in. Gabriel calls Carly in desperation, begging for help one last time, but she refuses, saying she cannot take the risk. During their call, the motel's landline rings. Bryce is on the line asking to speak with Carly to confirm everything is alright. To cover for Gabriel, Carly lies and claims she accidentally broke a lamp. Satisfied, Bryce hangs up but soon appears at the room with a replacement lamp. Panicked and seeking to avoid suspicion, Gabriel hesitates but realizes Bryce likely has a master key. With no option, he lets Bryce in and fabricates a story that he is Carly's ex-husband who has come to visit. Bryce is uneasy but does not press further. He insists on installing the new lamp, provoking Gabriel to snap and demand he leave. Their confrontation is interrupted by an attempted call from Andre, Gabriel's friend, but poor reception prevents a conversation. Andre, waiting nearby and frustrated by Gabriel's absence, eventually drives off unaware of the danger unfolding. Elsewhere, two police officers investigating Gabriel's past discover that Carly also has a criminal record and served time previously. Suspecting she may be assisting Gabriel, they decide to visit her home. At Carly's house, a knock at the door is answered only by silence. Disturbed, she closes the door and then catches sight of a figure outside wearing a pale mask, the pale-faced killer. Frozen with fear, Carly neglects to lock the back door. By the time she reacts, the killer is inside. She attempts to flee but is overpowered. Before killing her, the masked man pauses to study a photograph of Carly with her mother and utters a chilling remark, "I killed her too." He then reveals a locket identical to the one Carly's mother once wore. The next morning, the police arrive at Carly's residence to find the house in disarray and blood throughout, but Carly herself is nowhere to be found, leaving the officers perplexed. Meanwhile at the motel, Gabriel waits anxiously for Andre's call. When the call finally comes, Gabriel pleads for help and apologizes. Andre agrees to pick him up later that night. As Gabriel begins to gather his belongings and prepare to flee, the camera reveals a terrifying truth: the pale-faced killer is already in the room behind him. Before he can react, Gabriel is struck and rendered unconscious. He awakens bound to a chair, dazed and terrified. Across the room, Bryce stands unmasked as the pale-faced killer, methodically cleaning as if this is routine. Gabriel fumbles for his phone and hears it ringing. Looking up, he sees Carly's lifeless body placed within view. The realization of her death overwhelms him. Hearing the ringtone, Bryce returns and, believing Gabriel to be unconscious, drags Carly's body toward a concealed underground tunnel and disposes of it inside. As Bryce walks away, Gabriel's phone rings again, this time with Andre calling, but Bryce notices and smashes the device. He then seizes a knife and advances on Gabriel, intent on killing him. In a sudden surge of strength, Gabriel shoves Bryce. The assailant stumbles, falls, and is impaled on his own knife, dying instantly. Severely wounded but alive, Gabriel stumbles from the room and briefly glimpses Andre waiting in a car outside. Rather than flee, Gabriel chooses a different path. He uses a motel phone to contact the police, prioritizing justice over escape. Andre, seeing this from a distance, reacts with anger and drives away, abandoning Gabriel. A new presence then emerges from the shadows: Michelle, Bryce's wife, composed and unnervingly calm. She reveals that she and her family have long been involved in the killings. Their son, Sam, the masked boy Gabriel had seen earlier, was also part of their murderous enterprise. Michelle explains that the family has staged deaths as accidents or disappearances for years, and that Carly became a liability after overhearing a killing. They silenced her to protect themselves. Before Gabriel can respond, Sam attacks from behind and fatally stabs him. Moments later, police finally arrive at the motel, but the scene is eerily quiet. Gabriel is dead, Carly is missing, and the tunnels beneath the property are empty. When officers question Michelle, she feigns ignorance, claiming Gabriel had checked in days earlier and left without explanation. As the police depart, Michelle calmly tells Sam it is time to move on. The film's final image shows Michelle at Andre's door, claiming her car has broken down and asking to use his phone. Sam waits outside in the dark wearing a mask. The implication is clear: the cycle of violence continues.